I wanted to record a video going over step 3 and step 4 in my own words. I know a lot of times that helps a whole lot than just reading the instructions to an assignment. So step 3 and step 4. Step 3, you have information right here. Step 4, right here. That's in the common research assignment as well as in your module for each week for the rest of the semester. I have it in there. Now, step 3. If you click on these documents, it's going to load up this document and this document. So the second one, this one that you see on the screen right now, this is this one right here, the guide. And I'm not going to go over the guide with you in detail other than to scroll through and show you exactly what it is. It is a template that you can use. You could just change all of this information. You change title, put your title, put your name, put the date, add a running head. All of your information's right here. An abstract, this explains what's in an abstract. You delete that and write your own. Your paper, the basics of what goes in your paper. You just delete that and write your own. Read through the examples and things like that, especially when it comes to like how to use in-text citations, because you definitely need in-text citations in this paper. So you have examples of how to do it with quoting, with in-text citations, with paraphrasing and things like that. Reference page, same thing. Explains what goes in the reference page. You just delete and put your information. So take a look. It's very helpful. But what I will go over is this using the actual instructions for the assignment. So for this assignment, you will find one more article using PsycInfo. You should already have that. Hopefully, when we left the library session, you had two. If you don't yet, that's your first step, is to find that other article and read it. I'm not going to grade you off of the second research worksheet, but I do recommend create a second research worksheet, and this one just do in bullet points, like I was saying in the class many times. For the second one, just do it in bullet points. It can be very quick, but it's very good for organization, and you should get some practice doing that, because when you're doing research papers on 5, 10, 20 different academic sources, it's very easy to lose track of what's where, and that helps a whole lot with that. That's the purpose of a research worksheet. When you're writing things up, consider these questions. What does prior research tell us about the topic? What did your two articles find? Why are the findings important? What's the takeaway of the combined results? That's what you are writing in this. In your introduction, first thing is, what does prior research tell us about your bullet point? So this is from your bullet point from step 1. Then you're going into, this is what article 1 found, this is what article 2 found. Then you put them together. So why are their findings important together? When you put them together, what's the big takeaway? So what you are doing in this paper, it is writing a essay, a literature review with an introduction, conclusion, and a body. In the introduction, you tell us about what prior research says. In the body, you talk about what was in step 1. What was in article 1, what was in article 2, and then put them together. So it's more than compare and contrast, as I've been saying many times to you. It's not just compare and contrast, it's putting them together. Why are their findings important when you put them together? What's the takeaway of the articles when you look at them together? Together meaning how they together answer your bullet point from step 1. That's what this assignment is. It's very simply, that is what this assignment is. It is a 3-page paper doing that. You will have a title page, an abstract page, and a reference page that does not count towards the 3 pages. The 3 pages is where you get your introduction, body, conclusion. Introduction, you're going to also answer question 1. In the body, paragraph about what was in article 1, paragraph about what was in article 2, and then put them together. Why are their findings together important? What's the takeaway of them together? It's more than compare and contrast, but you're certainly comparing and contrasting there. And then you have a conclusion, and that's your paper. If you haven't found your second article, that you need to do immediately. For those who found 3, if you want to use 3, you can, but you're only required to use 2. Half of your grade is the content, what goes in here, how you're answering these questions. 25% of your grade is your writing skills. 25% is format. So a quarter of your paper basically is free to you if you use that template, because that template is already formatted for you. You just have to make sure you don't erase something and not replace it. So everyone should be starting with 25% of this grade. This will have the distribution of grades, like I've been saying in the class before we went online. Step 2, I expect everyone's going to do really well. And step 4, I expect everyone's going to do really well. This will have uh, a bigger distribution of grades because content and writing skills is going to be important here, and there will be some variance on what I see from that. There's a little bit more as you scroll down, so make sure you read that. This third page is a blank research worksheet for you to use for your second article. Again, I encourage you for this one, I'm not grading it, so you don't have to use the 4 to 6 sentences in sentence form. Because I'm not grading it, just do this in bullet points. When I do research myself, I'm writing a research worksheet on every article. I just do it in bullet points. So writing a research worksheet doesn't take me very long. That's what you're doing in your paper one final time, and then I'm going to talk about the posters for 5 minutes. One final time in your paper, you have a title page, a reference page, a abstract page. In the guide, it goes into what goes on each one of those pages. Then you have a 3-page body to your paper where you'll have an introduction. In the introduction, you will talk about prior research about your topic. So your topic is your bullet point from step 1. You will talk about in the body of your paper what your 2 articles found. So have a paragraph for what was in article 1. And that's basically just putting in paragraph form what was from your research worksheet on that you submitted for a grade. Then what was in article 2? If you create the research worksheet in bullet points here, all you have to do is then take those bullet points and put them into paragraphs. Then answer question 3. It's more than comparing and contrasting. You are comparing and contrasting, but what you're specifically doing is talking about why those articles are important together as they answer your bullet point from step 1. Why are the findings important? What is the takeaway when you combine the 2 articles together? Add a conclusion, and that's your paper. The last thing is step 4. Now, step 4 is, where is it? Step 4 is also going to be due the same day that step 3 is. So don't wait until last minute. These are all going to be due on May 4th. Don't wait till last minute, and then you have 2 big assignments due the same day. Now, for this assignment, you can submit this to one of 2 ways. You can create a physical poster, and then you take pictures of that poster. So in this paper, if you scroll down, there actually are 2 examples on the bottom of what this would look like when these are really good. And in those 2, you would just take pictures just like this. What I would ask for you to do, so taking these as an example, take a picture just like this where you have the full poster board, then take a picture zoomed in on the left side, so these 6 boxes. Take another picture zoomed in on the right side, so of these 6 boxes. So what you end up seeing is the whole thing, and then it's easier to read on the left side, easier to read on the right side because it's a little bit closer to the poster. You just attach those to the discussion forum for the week, and it'll have to be sorry about that. It'll have to be attached by end of day on Monday. Then Tuesday or Wednesday, you're just going to reply to a couple of other classmates' posts, just like we have been doing with the discussion boards pretty consistently. You just would attach the pictures that week. The other way that you can do this is you can create a Prezi. So if you decide to create a Prezi, let me actually open a tab and I'll show you the website, prezi.com. It has to be a Prezi. So it can't be a PowerPoint, it can't be Google Slides or something like that. You go to this website, it functions similarly to Google Slides or PowerPoint if you've never used it before. But the bottom line is, it is a little bit better for a poster because it's more interactive where you basically would see the whole poster. And then as you click like you would for a PowerPoint, it will actually zoom you in to a specific part of the poster. And that specific part of the poster would be as if we are looking at this picture again. You see this whole thing, and then it would zoom you in here. The next slide zooms you in here, and it actually will automatically put animations in to zoom you in. So it'll look really, really good zooming into these different parts. When you're using this website, make sure you get the free version. Do not sign up for any of these. The basic version right here is free, so do not pay for this. There's no reason to use one of the pay versions for you doing this as a student for an assignment. The basic is free for you. And that's basic, you just use that. It's not overly complicated. It's actually a lot easier to use than something like PowerPoint is or something like that. But if you run into some trouble, that's when you just create the physical poster. If you're good with using Prezi, it's very simple. I mean, it's basically just drag and drop for images and things like that. So it's pretty easy to use, but you have to create an account to use it. You would just submit the link to your completed Prezi if you decide to go that route. Same thing, that link would be due by Monday, and then you reply to 2 other classmates' posters on Tuesday. The other part of that assignment is on Wednesday, I want you to go in and reply back to the people who commented on your own poster. I want to simulate discussion as best as we can. What you're doing for the poster, though, just follow the directions. You just zoom into any one of these slides that you might need to. So you zoom in, you can see the directions are right there. This is the basic template. I actually think it's easier, instead of taking a look at these templates, I think it's easier to use this template or just look at the pictures of the completed versions. Here's what I will say when it comes to creating the poster. If you're creating it on a Prezi, it almost doesn't matter. You're just using the template they give you. And use your whatever basic template that makes sense for a poster that you think looks like it's going to be the best. It's not something that has to be very precise. It's not that the template is important. Just make sure you're using a basic template on Prezi and use that one. If you're creating the poster board yourself, follow something like what you see here or what you see here. In the middle of everything, have the really important stuff, because you're going to be drawn into the center. In this one, it says put the tables on the right, and you can see that's what this person did right here. I actually like the tables a lot when they're in the center as well, because it draws you right in to a graphic that can really capture your attention. But you basically just follow any one of these templates. The specific template's not so important. What's important to me is that all the information that needs to be there is there. So the last thing I want to take is about a minute just talking about what information needs to be there. Make sure that you have the information about your paper, so your title page basically, your name, what bullet point you chose, what the title of your paper was. Make sure you also have a slide for the references. Beyond that, what you're basically doing is this, and this is the best way. We've gone through this in classes for so many times. This is the best way to describe what this assignment is. Once you finish your paper, so finish step 3 first, then take your step 3 and write a research worksheet of it. And that's what I want to see on the poster. In other words, what I want you to do is take your paper and I want you to break that paper down to the really important information. The really important information that was in the introduction, really important information that was in the method, really important information that was in the results, really important information that was in the discussion. So that's just like what you see. Hold on, I'll even load that really quickly. Just like what you would see in the research worksheet. Introduction, method, result, discussion. And you are putting that information right onto this poster. Have something visual, table, graphic, something like that, that captures your attention. Have your abstract. Your abstract can come pretty much right from your paper. You might have to shorten it ever so slightly depending on how long it was from your paper. Have something visual that captures your attention, and that's really it. The visual is important because it's going to be the first thing people look at when they look at your poster. So keep that in mind. The first thing that someone looks at will look at whatever graphic, table, chart that you put. So that should either be something that's a really interesting statistic, table, graph, something like that, that really engages everyone when they see it. So use that strategy when you're thinking about choosing what graph, what table to pick. If you have questions, shoot me emails. We can talk as much as we need to about it. But that's basically what step 3 and step 4 are about. They're both due Monday, May 4th. Then for the poster, you have to do replies to 2 classmates on Tuesday and then reply to the people that replied on your form on Wednesday. So you have a little something to do on Tuesday and Wednesday. But the actual poster and paper, both due Monday, May 4th. All right.